Hey everyone, welcome to this week's review. It's coming up a day late, but we're still doing one for you. I am, of course, your host, Purple Midnight 8, joined seemingly as ever with these reviews now by my fiance, Amelia. Why don't you say hello?
Hello. Yeah, I don't know. I get really nervous
You get
about it.
nervous every time, bless you. Every time we do a new one, I keep thinking, maybe she'll get used to it, maybe she'll be ready this time to not be nervous about it, but
Yeah, but even doing my stuff for my channels, I'll sit there and kind of hype myself up, and then I'll record, and it's like I don't want to seem like a nutter.
yeah, but the good thing is you've got to be yourself for your audience.
Mm.
So that's why I'm a twat in every video I do. Anyway, looking at one of the greatest films of most people around our
We
age is
did
like
have an
childhood.
app that picked one, and then you said,
We started doing an app for her choice of the week. Uh, we had like a website of her free choices she couldn't decide on. This was not one of them. um, Basically, it was a choice between three of her like indie films, of course, because
Mhm.
it seems to be the only thing you cover when it's your turn.
Mhm.
Uh, and then I don't know what made us choose, of course, this week's movie Scooby-Doo.
I
I
think
don't
it's
know if you
because I
just
was sad, and you said we'd put it on.
yeah, we were just gonna watch Scooby-Doo for a laugh, but then I
Mm.
just sort of suggested like, why don't we do this
So,
week?
if you know about the feature menu?
Of course, the DVD menu.
So, for those
I'll let her take care of this.
that were born in the 19 between 1996 onwards, I would
Like
say.
late 90s, early
So this
2000s.
was done in 2002.
I was one.
Mm.
I'm a little zoomer.
So, growing up from probably like the age of 10 onwards, you would have this on because
Well,
you'd.
you would have been five,
Mm.
5 or 6.
But I remember falling asleep to this on repeat, and then you'd wake up at 3 a.m. to that song.
Well, if anything, the internet has taught us about this film is that
And
a
we can't
lot of
even
people
play
did.
it because we'll get copyrighted.
Uh, if you haven't heard it already, everyone is familiar with it. I'll be surprised if not.
Mm.
The song is called "Land of a Million Drums" by Outkast, I think.
You'd literally wake up, press play, and then watch the movie for a bit, and then fall back to sleep, and it would be a repeat cycle.
It is like it's not a good loop because it sort of stops the song halfway and then
Mm.
restarts it.
But Silver did it with me all the time. So. But he's not here. Well,
He is
he's
here. He
here.
is present. He is on
He's
his
not
cat
dead.
bed. Yeah, he's not dead.
That's
Bless
really
him.
bad. No.
He is currently licking his toe beans. We've got to do the weekly update of Silver, seemingly, when it
Yeah,
comes to the reviews.
he's had his tea, and now like he won't come up here with us.
He's got a full little tum tum from his
Mm.
chicken. But here we are. So we'll get right into it now that we've got the cat
Mhm.
update, with the Silver update, and the little bit of backstory of your love of this film. So we'll get right into the
I even
review.
did a TikTok on it.
You did a TikTok.
Mhm.
You can find that yourself. I'm not plugging that shit. She was like, we've just watched this. I'll do what people have done 100 times already with this. So, came out in 2002. As I said, I was one. That shows how young I am, how young and innocent I am, and how old and putrid you are. At the age of 6 years old at the time.
It's such a good film, though.
It is a classic, even though it was like butchered on release.
Mm.
So, 2002, directed by someone named Raha Gosnell. I'm not familiar with them. As far as I'm aware, this is literally like the only thing that
Can
I've
we have
seen.
like? I don't think we'll ever have another Scooby-Doo again with the original cast.
I would fucking love it.
I want to say they did 4 live actions, so there's Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo 2, but then there's another 2 live actions that don't have any of the original cast. I think the only one is Scooby-Doo's voice. But the other 2 live action ones that aren't linked to obviously Scooby-Doo 1 and
Oh,
Scooby-Doo
look
2.
at that! That looks awful.
Yeah, that's the live action one, and
Freddy's not even blonde.
I have both of the other live action ones on DVD
Oh
myself,
no, it never came out. It was
but
cancelled before it came.
But yeah, the other two live action ones, sorry, that were rubbish, I have
What
on
was it?
DVD, but I don't pull them out as much.
No, it did come out.
Yeah,
I
'cause
do apologise. One in 2009 and then its sequel
but
in
it's not the original
2010.
cast. Like, you know how I've forgotten his name now. Scooby and what's his name in the first?
Shaggy.
Shaggy.
How do you not remember? You love Scooby Doo,
I
and you're like,
know,
what's
but
that? What's that tall guy's
I'm not
name?
good with names. But Shaggy had so much fun with the Scooby Doo because you can really see it.
Matthew
Like,
Lillard
he really
who is
brings it to life, doesn't he? Even though Scooby Doo's not real and most of it is like green screen or like he had to just talk to himself in
Matthew
one of the.
Lillard couldn't give a fuck about playing the film series. I
He
mean,
did
it's a
it so
Scooby Doo film,
well.
and he embraced it.
Mm,
But of course, he's great in anything he's
mm.
in. I love Matthew Lillard,
Oh,
like
and
Scream, 13
they
Ghosts.
did also do the Scoob animation one that I have on DVD as well. That had Simon Cowell in, I think.
Oh God, yeah.
Scoob.
There was a weird point
Mm,
in time where little side tangent, but Simon Cowell was in everything.
mm.
Because I don't know if you remember that one of the Shreks had that Far Far Away Idol as like a little bonus feature, and he was in that. What? Why?
I don't know.
Why was fucking Simon Cowell in that? He was just like the person
Mm.
to be bullied.
It's just I remember watching Scooby Doo with Mum and like literally having it on most because I got diagnosed with autism, so that makes sense why I watched. Like, I've watched Scooby Doo so many times off the back of my head that I'm probably going to be more confident in this one than any other thing.
Well, that does surprise me considering we've done a lot of films that mean a lot to you.
Yeah, but this one holds
It's
such
more
a
sentimental
memory.
value.
I think it's
I
because
didn't
of
even
that
Google the guy I
tune
was
that
meant
you'd be
to.
listening, you'd wake up to at 3 in the morning, and then you'd just be like, play. You'd wake up and have your 5 minute vibe like, in the land of
And at 3 a.m. everything else is
there is
weird.
always something going
Oh God.
on.
So anyway, there are a few films I know.
Mm.
For Raha Gosnell. Did he direct Home Alone, or was
They
he
have
like a
actually
producer?
done the Scooby Doo, like, they've done series
Uh,
1 and series 2 of this new Scooby Doo thing. It's animation. I
We're not
don't
we're not going to talk about Velma. That was a
I
fucking
don't know if
bonfire.
it has anything to do with the original cast or not of the first and second Scooby Doo, but it's an animation of like clues, and there's like 22 episodes on each series. Basically, I want to get them, but they're 12. Well, they were selling them in Asda for £12 at the time, and I couldn't
For
really
all you
justify
Americans
it.
out there, that's currency and not weight. 'Cause, haha, funny joke.
Mm.
Anyway, so we'll get back on it now that we've had another little side tangent. If you're new, this happens like every episode of just going to talk about one film, and about 20 minutes of it is just random side notes.
hmm
So,
But yeah, everyone knows Scooby Doo, and if you haven't, then you just go to Elon Musk, get yourself a little spacesuit, hop in a little spacecraft, and fuck off to the moon.
and pray it's not the one that blew up recently.
You don't deserve to be here if you've
You've been
not
living
seen
under a
Scooby,
You've been living under a big
and if
fucking
you have
rock.
not had that if you've not had that tune on at 3 a.m. in the morning, and you've woken up to it.
Do
Then
it. Do it now. Get it on
don't
DVD from your.
don't
I would
talk
say
to me.
I would say a blockbuster, but go down to your local charity shop.
I would say we are not. If you haven't
Insert Gosfring from Breaking Bad. Me. Anyway, so Raha Gosnell, he's mainly an editor, but he also did Scooby Doo 2, which
that
do
would
you have
make.
that on DVD?
Yes, I do.
We'll do that at some point.
I have the whole four, but obviously Scooby Doo and Scooby Doo 2 are the best because
We
that's
will.
the
We
original
will.
cast.
We'll consider doing 3 and 4, depending on if people want that or not, or
We'll
if I.
definitely do number 2 because number 2 is really good as well.
We will do like the full franchise because I said
Mm.
that about Scary Movie that we'll do all of them even though the ones once the Wayans like brothers are done they're shit and
Oh,
they
God.
fucking you can
We've still
tell
got to
they're
find
shit.
number 5.
Oh God,
That's
yeah.
where the Hoovers are having a party and they
We'll
like
find 5. It could take some time because it's a disaster, but anyway, we'll get back on track now. Raha Raymond Gosnell. I don't know why I felt like I needed to say his full name. I won't go into his personal details about his family. That might be a bit much. Known for among his best known works had Never Been Kissed, which is just some stupid rom com. Is that Drew Barrymore?
Beverly Hills
Yeah, Drew
Chihuahua.
Barrymore. Beverly Hills Chihuahua. Both of the Smurfs movies. I don't know if they ever did a third one.
Big Mama's House.
Yeah, The Lost Village. They did all three.
Mm.
Home Alone 1 and 2. Show Dogs. He's done a lot. I think more as an editor. Oh, Miss Doubtfire as well. Don't know why they put that below fucking Big Mama's House and Show Dogs. I remember seeing the trailer for Show Dogs.
Because they're
Sounded like
going
shit.
in from earliest to oldest.
Are they?
Yeah, if
How?
you look, it's like 1993,
Yeah, no, that doesn't make sense. 'Cause look,
1992.
97, 2008, 2013, 11, 4, 1999.
Oh, yeah, true.
You fool. Anyway, so enough about Raha Gosnell. And Raha Raymond Gosnell.
How many pages did you get?
Yeah, just bring that up mid-recording, babe. I can't get enough of Raymond, apparently. Fucking Raha. That's about 2.5. This could be a fairly long one, if we can actually get on with it.
Basically, because when I review stuff, I take chunks of it, and you're writing down every single fucking scene.
Oh, I've got to. Anyway, so directed by Raha Raymond Gosnell, from a screenplay by the one and only James Gunn of Marvel fame. Everyone's heard of James Gunn. If you've not heard of this, that really surprised me. Here we go. Get Google back up.
And then he does this thing where he gets Google back up, and he Googles like
Shut up.
every person.
Everyone knows James Gunn. It's pretty
Every
simple.
name.
Of course, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker,
He's got the list, so
Brightburn.
he's now going to tell you all the films.
Sliver is a weird fucking film. If we get to cover that, that'd be great. Harley Quinn, he did Dawn of the Dead, that reboot we watched. Anyway, enough about that. Enough about him. Let's not go to Raymond again. So the movie begins with a toy factory haunted by a ghost. Pretty typical Scooby-Doo affair.
Mm.
Big scary monster they're chasing with silly traps and shit like that. If you've not even seen the cartoon of Scooby-Doo, you have been living under the biggest fucking... You've been living under a mountain. Like, you know what Scooby-Doo is. Everyone knows. If you've never seen anything and you've only watched Velma, you need to be shot. And anyone who made Velma needs to be shot.
I think Build-A-Bear needs to actually do the Scooby-Doo range. Because they've done Stitch. Sorry, side note.
Real quick, rest in peace, our local Build-A-Bear that closed down.
Oh yeah, we lost it in Norwich, so now we have nothing, and our children are never going to know. Thanks, Build-A-Bear.
Love you, Build-A-Bear.
Fucking assholes.
Should we start boycotting Build-A-Bear because they took it out of Norwich?
It's the fact that my children are never going to know what it's like to put a fucking plastic heart
Sorry,
in a
my
bear.
children? Our children. Anyway.
They're never going to make a wish. Hashtag cancel Build-A-Bear. We'll start a new one. We'll call it Bear Factory.
Anyway. Daphne, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, of course, I think she was Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, she was. She's
And
been
also-
in quite a lot, which I was
she's
surprised about.
Famous, like, sort of scream queen,
Mm.
per se. You know what they are, don't you? Buffy
Yeah,
the
but
Vampire
it's the
Slayer.
fact that she was in Scream 2, she was in The Grudge, and I've watched The Grudge so many times and I didn't fucking know it was her. Excuse me for my swearing.
I'm fairly sure I've already sworn in this. Oh, she was in Star Wars Rebels. Anyway, let's not go into it. But famous for Buffy and, of course, what you did last summer. Plays Daphne, of course. Being carried by the ghost somehow. I mean, it's obviously a dude in disguise,
They
but
did explain how this works.
He
was being carried.
he floats with balloons, but
Yeah, because they
How can that
press the button in his chest.
I
and then
know
the
it's a
balloons blow up.
yeah, I know that.
They did explain. You know,
Really-
Velma did explain this.
Yeah, but realistically, would it be able to carry a fully grown man carrying a woman as well? And how does it look so?
Probably not realistically.
Anyway.
Probably they put strings on him, floated him up that way.
I know what everyone's thinking. It's why don't you just fucking give it a break? It's clearly a kids' film. Just turn the brain off. It's not what we do on the Nova
No one
Project
has never
channel.
said that.
No, but people on the internet do. So
I'm so sorry.
she's being carried by the ghost, while Velma, played by Linda Cardellini, no offense, I do not know anything else she's been in other than Scooby-Doo. And if I keep googling people who are in the film, we could be here all fucking night. Excuse me. Anyway, she was in the Green Book. Really want to cover that. That's one of my favourite films. I think that's the fucking McDonald's movie.
I am so sorry to you guys. Just hearing, we're having
Yeah.
proper Coke for a change.
Yeah, the founder is the McDonald's film. It's weird.
Okay.
Grandma's boy. Legally Blonde.
I think he's got ADHD because he keep googling all this stuff.
I like to know. I like to credit people. Radio's over to Fred, played by Freddie Prinze Jr. Also from I Know What You Did Last Summer. Again, I'm not going to start going into everyone's fucking...
That's scary how
IMDb
them two did. I know what they did last.
Yeah,
summer.
weird enough.
Mm.
But I think they just hired him to play Fred because his real name is Freddie. About the plan to catch her, Scooby, played by the original voice actor for Scooby-Doo, Neil Fanning, back in the role. After, I'm not going to look up how many years it was between this and the last animated film or TV show. And Shaggy, of course, previously mentioned, the one and only scene-chewing Matthew Lillard. They're hiding in a barrel, of course they are, because that seems to be what they do in all of the, like, Scooby-Doo media, is hide in a barrel. I haven't seen Velma, I know it's just terrible, so I'm not going to be like, oh, it's also in Velma too. It's not even called Shaggy in that, I don't think. It's got some stupid new name. Reginald. Anyway.
Wow, they butchered that then.
Let me show you. Let me just...
We're gonna be here forever.
We will be here forever, but it's fine. He had a stupid name.
So again, we're filming at 22:13.
Yeah, they've been getting shorter. He was not called Shaggy. He was called something... No, I think it was Orwell or something. Like 1.3 stars out of 7,000. Orwell? Was it Orwell? Norville. It was called Norville instead of Shaggy. I mean, Norville is apparently his actual name, but fuck off. He's not called Norville. Go fuck yourself. Anyway. The ghost sets fire to the barrel, blowing their cover. Essentially sending them off with Scoob's legs hanging out the bottom, running while Shaggy's screaming out the top. It's very much done like how they would do it in the animated films and the TV shows. Velma springs the trap, doesn't go well, causing her to hang upside down. Shaggy and Scoob to be sent over the factory assembly line along the conveyor belts. Scooby and Shaggy swing into the ghost, knocking him over and out. They basically end up on a hook. They end up on a skateboard, don't they? They go on a skateboard and just get off before a big hydraulic press slams down on their skateboard. Onto a hook, they swing round, knock into the ghost who's still flying around, sending him through like a wall of boxes.
Yeah, it was like... Oh, I think it was for because you have a star guest of Pamela Anderson in this, and I think it was for, like, her dolls.
Yeah, it was...
Like, toys that were being made.
So, as mentioned by Amelia just then, the mystery machine arrives, being driven by Pamela Anderson for whatever fucking reason. They were just like, oh, who can we have cameo? Pamela Anderson. She was popular for Baywatch and... Baywatch. Bringing a bunch of fans and the press because journalists are like vultures. I do not like journalists. No, I'm not going to go on a side tangent because YouTube won't like that.
You're not famous enough yet to know what.
I will not go on a side tangent. I do not like journalists. But here we are. Anyway, the ghost is unmasked. I don't know why I bothered putting this down. The ghost is unmasked, revealing it's the janitor, Mr. Smithers. Which I immediately just thought, Smithers! He does the classic, like, oh, I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids spiel from the original cartoons. Afterwards, the gang talk about how Daphne is always kidnapped, and Shaggy explains how they all work together well, like a nasty banana split. It was the most disgusting thing you've ever heard of him, like putting on like sour barbecue sauce and all. Blah. He fails to impress Velma, who threatens to quit, causing Fred and Daphne to also quit, which upsets Shaggy and Scooby. I must just say, well, in this little sort of opening scene, Freddie Prinze Jr. has this fucking terrible blonde wig on. He's blonde in the film, but it's clearly like he dyed his hair for the film. But in this bit, he's got this bowl cut wig on. That, ugh, it really made me uncomfortable. Such a stupid. 2 years later, Scooby and Shaggy are hotboxing the mystery machine.
This is my favourite.
It's very clearly supposed to be like, haha, get it? He's like stoner character, but he's not. They're barbecuing in the back of a van.
I could do with a burger right now.
Oh, don't even start. I love a good barbecue. They're disturbed by a knock on the door from a man inviting them to Spooky Island, the most inventive of names, where I do hope nothing else. Convincing them to go with an all-you-can-eat buffet because they do be.
They are probably. Sorry.
They are greedy little cans. Oh, that was good.
I could do that over again.
My body did not like it, but it was worth it. At the airport, Velma and Freddy bump into one another, awkwardly catching up with each other. Daphne at this gate trying to board. She's trying to board with like 9 suitcases on a trolley that are all purple because she loves purple. I mean, if anything, the cast does a great job of playing their characters, and like whoever wrote them to be that way, like compared to most movies that are based off of stuff these days, there is a lot of love behind it into making a like faithful adaptation of it. Because there is a lot of shit. Like, especially around this time is when all the terrible like adaptations, like the original Mario movie with John Leguizamo and someone else, I forget his name. I do apologise. But that was not long before this, I think, and that was like it's become like a cult classic, but people it was bad. Not like how apparently this new one was pretty. I do apologise. We did want to review that, but shit changed. And plans happened or didn't happen, so we didn't get around to doing that in the end. But may get around to it someday. But for now,
well,
no,
if there's a full song repeat, I'll assume us.
Wow, that's not very nice to chat back. He wrote, and it is an offence to him because he wrote it.
Did he really?
Yeah, he wrote it for the film, and it's up for possibly winning an Oscar for best song in a movie.
He may want to find.
It's Jack Black. Have you not heard any Tenacious? It's all about like how they're meant to be like rock stars, but they're pretty mid.
No, I'm sorry. That Peaches song was shit. It's terrible.
It's meant to be shit though. It's not meant to be like this groundbreaking piece of material.
He needs to go.
Wow. I honestly, if we ever watch Pick of Destiny, I might have to do that next week so you can see the silliness of Tenacious D. But we'll see, because we don't have Netflix anymore. So, let's hope it's in the charity shop. But we'll see. We'll see.
Next, because Jack Black's
so,
Shaggy
and... Wow, you are going to be butchered in the comments.
I don't care.
Shaggy and Scooby also arrived, but Scooby is disguised as Grandma Scoob because they don't allow big dogs on the plane, which is a bit more relaxed now. I've seen some of the dogs we follow on the internet, and sometimes they're on the plane. Gang all reluctantly agree to go to the island together, but they don't go as like a team per se.
No, it's like, I'm going to solve it first.
Yeah, they're all like, I'll do it. I'll do it. My dad is bigger than your dad. On the plane, Shaggy is really fascinated by a girl who...
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane, of course, another weed joke, because Shaggy is a stoner, but because it's a kid's film, they can't have drugs. Mary Jane, who I will not be calling Mary Jane for the entire movie. It's played by Isla Fisher, an Australian actress.
You could just shorten it and be like MJ.
No, I just call her Mary, which really ruins it. Scooby blows his cover when he barks repeatedly at a cat that is on board, this little white fluff ball. After arriving at the island, we get to meet Emil Montevarius, who I think it's Montevarius. He's just credited as Montevarius.
Oh god,
Mondavarius. Shut up! Anyway. So, yeah, Mondavarius, but I'll just call him Emil because... Played by Rowan Atkinson, of course. Famously Mr. Bean, Blackadder, very popular, famous British comedian.
I hate Mr. Bean because he never fucking talked.
Wow, that is like the whole point, is that he's just a bumbling moron.
He's fucking annoying because he don't talk. I hated it when I was a child.
I hate you.
Yeah.
But Blackadder's classic. He's basically the. It doesn't really explain if he's the island or the park's eccentric owner, but he owns something on the island that I think is at least the park. And it explains he brought them there to solve a mystery and to bring them together, explaining that he believes someone is casting a spell on the island's guest. Because he basically points out these like zombie-like people who are given to go home. They're like washed. Which does beg the question, what happened to them by the end of the film? If they left the island that day, and considering how by the end of the film
It's a
everything's
film,
okay
don't think too much about it, alright? Don't ruin it for me.
Yeah, but it's me.
Yeah, but don't ruin my
My
childhood.
job is to ruin everybody's...
Don't ruin my childhood, just leave it.
The guest throws a guy who knows her away after he tries to speak to her. She literally just like yeets him, like basically does like a WWE move. That night at a show, this weird sort of like, I don't know what you want to call it, a performance. It's not like a musical show. It's
This is what the creatures say.
There you go. Whatever that. When some fucking obvious like Indiana Jones villain comes up, his name is Nagu Tuana, with a real like normal person name, Stephen Greaves, and his henchman Zarkos, Sam Greca. Nagu explains how the island is supposedly cursed and haunted, and the resort has only angered the spirits. And then Velma basically goes, well, this is all a big fake. Look at all the projectors. And he's like, oh, you're clever, aren't you? Because Velma is a big fucking, like, I don't know what you want to call him. A big, like, she just likes to ruin shit because she's bored. At a party, as in a proper party. Well, not like alcohol party. This is like, I don't know what the age rating is, but there's not really alcohol. Scoob receives a phone call. Well, the barman, who is probably a cameo from someone else, but a phone call for Scuba, which is his full name instead of Scooby. Saying to walk into the forest for some hamburgers, and because Scooby is a foodaholic, he goes in because he's stupid.
And then he's like, hamburgers. Okay.
Shaggy and Mary win a shrunken head on a claw machine, which is also at the party. I think it's not far from it. I don't know why I wrote that down. It's pretty pointless. Daphne investigates some chanting in a hut and meets the voodoo maestro, who I thought was weird for him to be like quite high up the cast list when I first saw him. So I forgot how much of the film he's actually in. He's played by Miguel A. Nunez Jr. Again, I apologise. I don't know what else he's been in. I just like to credit as many people as I can. Who insults her outfit and tells her not to go to the spooky castle. I can't even remember what he says about her outfit. She takes it as him trying to trick her, but is confused as she... Basically, she accuses him of using reverse psychology. So she does go. But he's just like, what? Scooby's following signs in the forest, literally, like, signs be like, go this way. To a sack of hamburgers. He is ambushed by an actual monster, not a dude in a mask. This big... It's early 2000s CGI. It's not the best. It's not the best CG. It's very much like,
It was my childhood, I don't care.
Yeah, but it's part of the review that I have to.
I need to get him to fall asleep with it on repeat.
I promise. Attempts to capture him and fails, but after he's thrown from the tree and onto the front coaster, who apparently no one else saw because no one gives a fuck. That's not mentioned. Like, it's one of them where the tree bends unrealistically and then pings him off when the weight changes. It's very cartoony, but of course it's Scooby-Doo. You gotta have something like he runs to Shaggy at the party, basically screaming that there's a monster after him, but this dude in like a rabbit costume comes out. And Shaggy's like, sure there is. And then Mary leaves them. Daphne arrives and tells them that the three of them need to go to the spooky old castle on Spooky fucking Island. Scooby and Shaggy are not interested, however, and are persuaded when Daphne bribes them with Scooby Snacks. Remember, they like them in the cartoon. Oh,
Would
what
you do
happened?
it for a Scooby snack?
I had. It's been pointed out by other people,
I
but
couldn't help.
fucking Shaggy eats dog treats, and it's just like normal. Like that's what Scooby Snacks are, and they're called Scooby Snacks, and a lot of the cartoons have them in their own branding. So it's like, is Scooby-Doo a celebrity in universe as like not just as the Mystery Machine? Like, it's weird, but no one ever seems to be like, you literally fucking dog treats, mate. You're alright. I've lost it because I was looking away. After entering, the three are joined by Fred and Velma, who conveniently arrive. Velma explained how it was a ride that was put out of commission, and Fred, just like in the cartoons again, suggests that the gang splits up and they. Scooby and Shaggy find a fancy table laid out with lots of food for them because they always find the food. They're like Stasi. Their lives are taken over by food. That is all they care about. Daphne unblocks a door while Fred and Velma head their own way, being watched for a painting. Very, very typical of a Scooby-Doo cartoon. The guy behind the painting activates the ride, causing the group to be split up and to head deeper into the castle. Basically sweeps up Daphne on the way through, who's celebrating that the door opened, but the ride activated.
Thinking she opened it, but realistically she didn't.
Yeah, she a weak bitch. There's this weird bit where Scooby and Shaggy are like held against the wall by plastic, as we find out, plastic sausages, and they're screaming, thinking the monsters are gonna eat them. Fred basically gets thrown in the window by these big, seemingly real, like actually metal, like swinging axes from the ceiling.
Yeah, they're kind
That
of
is a health and
scary.
safety. Jesus. He's thrown through a window, landing in the control room, and accidentally turning the ride off, scaring away the mystery man. I've decided not to mention that he is a. It's very weird of why they had him be a normal person, but here we are. After making sure Fred is okay, Velma puts on. She happens to pull on the last book that's on a bookcase on a wall. She's just like, "Oh look, it's the last book." And I think she literally says that and then pulls it. The secret door. Opening a door that leads into the backstage area, Shaggy and Scooby find an old TV show set used for a training video that Fred and Velma are watching. The video is full of what I like to call boomerisms. So it's literally like, how do you do, fellow kids?
Oh, I've watching it for so long. I never understood the scene where they're watching a video of being like, this is how it's meant to go, because there's two teens bumping into each other the first time.
Yeah, but
one
if
gets
you'll
upset.
notice, when we see brainwashed Fred later on, he speaks like they do in that video. So I think that may be them showing the monsters as how they need to. So as a result, that's why when Fred is possessed later, speaking in boomerisms, like,
that makes
like yo yo yo, what's up, dog? That sort of awful crap. Daphne discovers a room resembling some sort of temple. She accidentally opens the pyramid-like object, which, as I put here, is totally not the fucking lament configuration of Hellraiser. Narrowly escaping with three sides of the pyramid. Yes, I did think about it when I was writing it. Do the pyramid have three sides? Well, yes. Well, they do,
You
but they have
really
the bottom.
thought that?
I was like, what's there three? I'm a bit fucking slow sometimes. Shaggy and Scooby ending up having a fart and a burp competition until Daphne enters in disgust. I don't know if you all you listeners out there remember when well, not recently, probably, well, it's probably a couple of years ago, the Shaggy meme of him being super powerful, and it's the bit where he goes, "Are you?" So the hidden man presses an alarm, sending Zark costumed goons into the ride. The gang disguise themselves as props very quickly. They're literally like, they're coming, and then a second later, they're all in disguise straight away.
That was really quick.
It was very quick. Before escaping when Zarkos leaves. At the hotel, Emil speaks to the gang about their. I meant to put findings. Basically, trying to find out what they found out. But as we find out, it's basically so that spoilers, Scrappy-Doo can see how far they're getting with their investigation. In trouble yet. Daphne ends up opening the pyramid to decipher it, while Nagu watches from above before randomly just going to play the piano. It's like watching her like open it and then just gets up and just plays the piano. For whatever reason. A guy from the earlier well, not even the party, that show from earlier, who unfortunately for him is not credited with a name, but is credited. I think he's just credited as Velma's friend. He shows up a couple of times and he's meant to be a side character, but he never really does anything.
I think they would at least his name on.
You think?
Because he was in it quite a few times.
He was in a few scenes.
I mean, Pamela Anderson was only in it, what, once?
Yeah, she
and
was
they
in...
credited her.
Just realised this review is 1008. Anyway, yeah, it's stupid. But I will credit him. His name is Charlie Cousin, the actor. Comes over talking to her, thinking she's alone, as in, like, completely on her own at the party, not just in general. She thinks back to happier times, which also includes Scrappy-Doo, played by J.P. Manu, who they end up throwing out of the van, and he yells out at them, saying he'll get his revenge.
You have some Ferroid.
Something like that. But it's definitely a... in the business, we call this foreshadowing moment. At the party, Scooby is once... Another party. It's basically in the bit where everyone is... Not even a party. It's sort of like a little club area with a bar. He's once more scared by a monster outside the window, causing Fred to step in and try to defuse the situation until the monster breaks the fucking doors down, causing absolute chaos. But because this is a kids' film and it's important for the show, nobody dies. Nobody dies in this film, even though it's a little spooky film. Unless you want to count maybe Robot Emil, but even then, no. The monster breaks in, grabs Fred, and breathes this weird sort of gas into his face, which we later see as what brainwashes. Not even a cult. No, I think it causes him to be possessed by a new monster, because then they expel the old one out when they get freed. Velma, who has lost her glasses, of course, because again, it's another cartoon thing. It's full.
Well, unless you wear glasses yourself, you won't understand the struggle.
My glasses! My glasses!
The monster gives it to her, which is interesting. I don't see the point. Oh, it's just for like, ah. And then it gives her the glasses and then breathes on her as well. Daphne successfully grabs the pyramid from Nagu, who is obviously a bad guy. And Emil is grabbed by a monster and pulled under. Scooby attempts to escape disguised as a suitcase, of course. He's in the suitcase and his little feet are hanging out the bottom. And he's
singing. Suitcase.
He's disguised as a suitcase, of course, but is grabbed by a monster because obviously,
Well, they take the suitcase off him, and then he's like still walking like.
yeah.
And then he's like, I think he puts it back on him.
No, he turns around and well, he's grabbed, but he gets out and then like starts giving him a manic. He like grates his nails.
Obviously, he stops to get that Subway sandwich
Yeah.
on the counter.
Scooby then grabs a luggage cart and also picks up Shaggy, Daphne, and Mary with a cart until they crash out of a window, landing safely. They basically bounce off an awning that realistically they would just fall straight through because it's not made of rubber. But I will shut up because I'm going to get told off by you in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The monsters follow them as well, but they just fall through it and end up losing the gang. They then just leave, taking a few guests with them to brainwash. The gang follows the monsters back to the cave from the show earlier. They call the Coast Guard for help, but they are also in on it. It doesn't explain if they are monsters or if they're just like Nagoo evil.
I think they may or
Yeah, but they sort of turn around and like, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyway. So basically, they don't do anything. The gang awake the next morning on the beach, finding it in perfect condition, like it hadn't just been attacked. This isn't really explained either of how it's perfectly fine. Like it totally didn't just get wrecked the night before, unless the monsters have magic powers. The gang head to a pool and split up. Daphne is approached. It's another of these cameos in the film where it's clearly something that's a bit more relevant to the time period the movie came in, because I have no idea. I've never heard of the band Sugar Ray. She is approached by the singer of Sugar Ray, Mark McGrath, who again I haven't heard of. Mark McGrath, however you want to pronounce it. He flashes his eyes, which are green because he's evil. He's a monster. Monsters can sing. Scooby finds Fred, who does not seem to recognise him, and is speaking like the training video. By that I mean the boomerang. Like, what up, dog? And it's funny because he is a dog. He, alongside the little group of people he is with, decide to chase after them, while Daphne is grabbed by Zarkos. Big luchador man, I forgot to mention. He's dressed like a fucking wrestler. Like as I say, a luchador. Scooby and Shaggy escape Fred using some quad bikes because they end up cornered in this like warehousey bit, and then there's some convenient quad bikes. They find Mary along the way, who had disappeared after they split up. We do find out that she had been possessed by this point pretty soon. When a branch hits her in the face, it's revealed she is a monster, but only Scooby sees. They end up at the cave, and Scooby attempts to warn Shaggy, which causes an argument until Scooby falls down a trapdoor. Mary attempts to stop him because she's evil and she doesn't want Shaggy to stop Scrappy getting his soul. But ultimately, Shaggy is just like, yeah, fuck you. Bros before hoes. Shaggy falls after Scooby, ending up in a big ass truck. A big ass cave. Fuck's sake. I didn't even press it. Just scroll. It has a bowl containing something. They called it protoplasm, which the computer didn't autocorrect, so I assume that's a thing. It has the protoplasm of Velma and the. I only put Velma down at this time because she's the first one you see. Shaggy frees Velma, and she discovers that the monsters die when exposed to sunlight when it leaves her body. Because he picks the protoplasm up, he lets it go, and it zooms off and reunites with Velma's body because she had been possessed. And it expels a monster out that immediately explodes in the sunlight. They're basically like knockoff vampires, but not the Twilight ones. Lost where I was. He also finds Fred in there. The heads in the protoplasms are once again very bad looking.
Mm.
It's once again early 2000s CGI, so it's dodgy as all hell. Freeze Fred, yeah. He fails to reunite with his body after it basically shuts the door with him. And he also frees Daphne as well, but she succeeds in doing it, causing that one to be expelled and killed as well. It's unfortunately revealed that Fred and Daphne are accidentally in the wrong bodies. So, realistically, no, she didn't reunite with the right body. The gang reunites in the forest and places the pyramid down, causing all the protoplasms to switch bodies until they correct themselves. As I said to you, this was shamelessly stolen by Jumanji, of like different characters being in different bodies.
But it was a fun scene.
It was a fun scene, of course it is. It was. I mean, once again, Jumanji had Jack Black from your earlier. He did a great job playing a teenage girl, and like it was very silly. Yeah, back on the beach, Daphne confronts the voodoo maestro, who somehow apparently hasn't been possessed either. So that could be due to his voodoo doo. He's trying to do another ritual. He describes the ritual that brings monsters. Now it needs a pure soul to succeed. And of course, the pure soul is Scooby-Doo because he's pure. Allegedly. You say that like he's got allegations against him.
Yeah, but how should we know he ain't been a bad boy when he's on his own?
Nagu, of course, back in the cave, is revealed to be the henchman of Emil, who brought them to the island for Scooby's soul. Emil meets with Scooby and tells him he has an important job for him, being a sacrifice, which Scooby, being Scooby, does not have any fucking idea what that means.
A sacrifice?
A sacrifice! The gang band together and plan. Act 3, we've got to we've got to have a happy ending. We can't have everyone going have fucking. We'll go and save our own skin. The gang then uses abseiling equipment, which they nick from a rock climbing wall. Of course they do, because it's a resort in the 2000s. It's got to have the rock climbing wall for whatever reason. The gang are interrupted when the ritual is beginning and the plan goes wrong when Shaggy is accidentally launched into the air until he swings into a guard, knocking him out. They're basically setting up in order to rescue him. Remember how they want to rescue him? I think they were just going to grab him and do it right.
But that didn't quite work.
Yeah. Sorry, anyway, Lego. Swings to the guard, knocking him out, and he briefly sees Scooby being treated like royalty, completely unaware that he is going to be murdered in order to power Scrappy-Doo. We only do the best impressions on this channel. Fred and Velma are forced to blend in with the brainwashed guests while Daphne is higher up, still hanging onto the side of the cave. Shaggy is almost caught, but successfully disguises himself in the guard's outfit. Of course, you know, doing the usual of within about a second he's changed clothes. Doing a dance that the guards are doing, just repeatedly punching the guard that wakes up behind him. Music stops in the main chamber without Fred and Velma realising. Captured because they kept dancing and chanting as well. Scooby is carried out by the guards, which includes Shaggy as well. Scooby and Shaggy make up, even though they didn't really have like a conflict. They have like one little argument. They'll be like, "You're my best friend." Oh god. Sorry, she's on her phone instead of doing the important.
No, I am, but you're talking. I can't really interrupt you.
Scooby's soul is taken before they can make their escape.
Bless you.
Not his soul, his protoplasm, I should say. Couldn't guess. I'll do another one. Bill uses the pyramid to absorb some protoplasms and attempts to absorb Scoobs before he's knocked down by Shaggy, incapacitating him. Because Scoob's soul has been again, his protoplasm, I just couldn't be asked to keep growing it. His soul flies around until it reunites with his body. Fred and Velma unmask Emil, revealing him to be a robot that's being controlled by Scrappy-Doo. Again, the little fucking manlet. Upon being unmasked, mutates into a monster due to all of the protoplasm he inside of him. Daphne escapes through the top of the cave in an attempt to open the vents to destroy the monsters, but is ambushed by Zarkos. She, if you want to call it fighting, fights him, while Fred and Velma attempt to stop Nagu from reusing the extracting machine to get Scoob's soul out. Shaggy and Scoob attempt to run from the giant Scrappy-Doo, but they're caught and are breathed on by Mary, who makes her way back into the movie because I guess the fucking filmmakers forgot about her. Fails to do anything to either of them, which is weird. I don't really get that, but it's a kid's film, and you forget about it. He sort of just laughs at her, but then Scooby is caught by Scrappy. Daphne manages to escape Zarkos and incapacitating, sending him crashing through and destroying the vents and onto the container of protoplasm, which frees all of the other guests. The light destroys the monster. It's a big happy ending. Scrappy, however, is spared by the light, but Shaggy succeeds in removing the pyramid from Scrappy, shrinking him down to a controllable size and throwing him against a wall. Fred and Daphne end up kissing. Shaggy finds a trapdoor that contains the real Emil. The real Emil. The Remil.
I can't remember whether they've said how long he's been down there.
2 years. Well, I think I don't know. He's got a long beard and long hair, so I don't know. He's been down there long enough. I think he might have said 2 years. Probably when they broke up. Velma reunites again with her friend from the night that the monsters attacked. I wish I had a name for him because I feel terrible. Because it's just like Velma reunites with her friend from the night that the monster. I could have just went. Velma reunites with Brian. Scooby and Shaggy are joined by Mary, of course, cured from her possession, who continues to flirt with Shaggy, who she thanks, and a free hug, even though she's allergic to dogs. Emergency services arrives on the island. I had to put it in, presumably to call up, because how you can fuck in that? Yeah, there are monsters. Sorry, lol. Oh, that was a bit weird. I do apologise. The fucking recording thing just had a bit of a heart attack. Right. Anyway, I think it's working, so I do apologise. We're right at the end of the film, so I'm like, please don't fuck up now. I think Discord just needed him to. Yeah, we have to use Discord. We don't have proper recording software, so I apologise. We have a little thing that records it for us, and I think it needed to reconnect. I forgot where I was now. That completely threw me off. As I say, the government arrived literally like dudes in black suits, the three-letter agency style people. The press arrived though, so clearly they can't have covered. Because as soon as the journalists arrive, game over. Fred starts to basically hog spotlight, but then he's like, oh, he's a better character. He lets Velma have her moment. Scrappy is apprehended alongside Nagu and Zarkos. The gang promise to be there to solve mysteries together. And the movie nearly ends. While the credits play, Scooby and Shaggy are of course eating more food and compete over who can eat chili peppers. Scooby eats a full jar, which he immediately regrets, which I can relate to. I haven't eaten a full jar of chilies, but I think I would actually die. Both of them end up eating a full jar together, and the movie ends. And there you go. So that was our little brief summary. It's been over 50 minutes already.
You shouldn't have to give stars I'm giving it.
We don't give them stars on this channel. Do we? Let me guess. Is it a perfect 10? Yeah, it's a good film. I'm not gonna say
10.
I'm gonna be generous.
Say 10.
I'm a lot more picky than you. A perfect 10. Nothing.
say
Maybe
10.
maybe one day there will be a film on the channel that is rated a perfect 10. Probably Jurassic Park. 8.
Yeah.
I'll give it an 8. I very much enjoyed it. Rewatching it when I'm a
He
bit
doesn't
older.
know what class and taste is.
Motherfucker. Who do you think you are?
I am
Anyway.
me.
Oh, hello, me. My name's Jeff. Anyway, but now that I'm older, I sort of look back on it and there's a few things that don't make a lot of sense. I know it's a kid's film, but I have to look at it from a critical point of view.
No, you don't. You
Yes,
can
I do.
just-
It's
you
the
can
whole
just
point of the fucking show.
turn a blind eye.
No. No.
10.
No. I'm giving it 10. I'll give it...
I'll give you a Lewis.
Don't say shit like that.
Yeah, I know he'd do it if I did.
No. Yeah, it still gets no. So I don't believe you. We can't afford another episode. Anyway, so that was our review. We very much enjoyed it. Of course, it's a classic film. As I say, the characters are well acted, well written. Honestly, I wouldn't expect anything less from James Gunn because he can write comedic and sometimes tragic characters at the same time. So, of course, perfect 10, 2 in a row now from her, and an 8 from me. And if you check in the description, you will find a link to our Letterboxd, where you will find where it ended up among other things. It's difficult when there's 2 of us. I might have to do 2 separate lists
Why?
because it's not as easy as that. It's not easy when you've got Black Adam on there. It's difficult because we rate things differently, so we may think it's in a different position. Either way, you can look down there, see where we placed it among other films. Amelia will just do a end of episode plugs.
No, I'm alright this time.
So you don't want to plug your channel or anything?
Well, you can go to the Obsidian Nook or Petal ASMR.
We didn't want to.
Sorted.
Yeah. Anyway, of course, I've been your host, Purple Midnight Mitchell. She has been whichever channel. She has been her. She has been Amelia.
Petal ASMR.
Pale ASMR, the Obsidian Nook. We'll catch you next week for my film, which I will decide on probably the day before. Thank you very much, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye. Do you want to say bye-bye?
Bye.
Bye-bye. We would get Silver to say goodbye, but he's asleep. Ta-ta.